Hello and welcome once again to another presentation of the Silent Sports Video Blog. Of course, this is a special NFL preview of the season that's coming up this Thursday night and all the way up to Super Bowl 52 in February. Thank you so much for watching. I'll give you all my predictions for this season, the division winners, and who I would think make the playoffs and who will represent in the Super Bowl this year. Super Bowl 52, of course, is this year's Super Bowl. I'm Troy West. Of course, this is Solid Day Assassin as well. Thank you so much for watching. Speaking of football, yesterday I did a fantasy football draft last night. So I want to send a special shout out to all my former co-workers, my man Mel, CC, Tavon, my man Therick as well. He subscribed to the channel yesterday, so I just want to thank those guys. Hopefully I do well this year in fantasy football. I've been playing it this is my 4th year playing, so hopefully I do well this year as well. But this is all football, all NFL. Of course, the season starts Thursday with the New England Patriots and the Kansas City Chiefs. Of course, I previewed that game Wednesday, so now after this show I'll be doing a blog every Wednesday and Saturday now, so definitely check me out. I'll be doing 2 blogs a week now to preview the Thursday night games during the week. So I just want to thank everybody again, thank all my other subscribers who's been watching. Also a special shout out to my twin nieces Jay and Janae. I spent a little bit more time with them this weekend. That's why his video up so late. I was gonna do it early yesterday morning, but I was spending time with them since yesterday, and I just got back home not too long ago. So now I'm recording the blog now. Of course, the season started Thursday, so I say, well, I had time to put this together. Been writing down little notes all week, so hopefully more prepared for this blog. But I previewed this year. I previewed the baseball season. And I previewed, I didn't do basketball. I did the NBA Finals. I did a special blog on that. Now this is one of my special blogs about football as the season starts Thursday night. So this is how I'm going to do it. I'm going to start in the NFC. I break down division by division. And I say something briefly about each team from top to bottom, who I think will finish last in the division, who I think will win the division. Then I'll go into the AFC, do the same. Then I'll come back and talk about who I think will make the playoffs as far as wild cards and who I see in the game this February representing the AFC and the NFC. I also wrote down who I think will win MVP this year, Defensive Player of the Year, Rookie Defensive Player of the Year, and Offensive Rookie of the Year. So tried to cover as much as I could. So we're going to start, like I said, the NFC, and I'm going to start with the NFC North. The NFC North division, to me, is a clear-cut winner, in my opinion. But I got the Bears finishing in the basement. The Bears, of course, they traded, up to get Mitchell Trubisky, who looked good this preseason, but he won't be starting. Mike Glennon will be starting for the Bears. They lost one of their top receivers in the preseason, I think a game that I watched. So they down to just Kevin White, who's been injured himself off and on throughout his career so far. Defense looking like they coming along, but the Bears still just not talented enough. I don't see them really doing too well this year. I think they will finish last. They probably show flashes of brilliance here and there with the young talent that you got coming in, but don't think they're going to do too much this year. I got Minnesota Vikings. I got the Vikings finishing third. Of course, one way reason because of their quarterback situation. Bridgewater still on the shelf. I think they put him on a PUP list to start the season. So I think Sam Bradford is the starter. Sam Bradford's up and down as always. Vikings defense still pretty stout. They got the young rookie running back from Florida State, Dalvin Cook. I think he's going to have a good year. I drafted him last night, so hopefully he does. But just because of the quarterback situation and just some of the uncertainties with the Vikings, possible they could compete for a wild card, but don't see too much more promise of that with Minnesota. I mean, they pretty much in the middle of the ground. They could surprise you and win a few more games, but just by my estimation, I think they'll finish third in this division. The Detroit Lions, they're not the same old Lions, but they're still sort of the same Lions. Still haven't won a playoff game since 1991, which that's why when Matthew Stafford got his money last week, of course now he's highest paid player. Some people, took it negatively, some people took it positively. I take it more positive than negative because the way the league is now, you need to have some type of stability at quarterback, even if they're not elite quarterback. Just to have stability at the position is always important. So Matthew Stafford has played well the last few years. So Lions just figured, well, we'll just roll with this guy. Maybe in a few years start looking at another quarterback. But right now, he's the best you got, so you got to roll with him. But the talent around him is iffy. They skilled players, sort of up and down, hit and miss. Dio Riddick, to be exact, he's one of the people I thought that would be having a better career so far. On the defensive side of the ball, still front is still not bad, but the secondary still have questions. So I have Detroit. I do have to finish the second though because I'd rather have Matthew Stafford than Sam Bradford. So I think that's the sort of the edge the Lions will have on the Vikings this year. And I think the Lions will be competing for a spot to make the playoffs. Of course, I get into the wild cards after I finish the whole division by division breakdown. So of course, finishing first, at least it's of course to me the Green Bay Packers. I actually feel good about the Packers this year. I think they're going to be definitely a Super Bowl contender. Aaron Rodgers, of course, you got him. I think he will be in the running for MVP. They picked up Martellus Bennett at the tight end spot. I think that's going to be a big, reliable target that Aaron Rodgers needs. Jordy Nelson's still there. He's a year off his ACL injury, so he probably should start looking back to normal this year. The defense, they drafted a lot of defensive guys, so hopefully they improve on that. That's been their Achilles heel the last few years. I just going by, I don't think their defense could be as worse as they've been. So I got Green Bay really doing a lot of damage this year. I got them winning the NFC North. So to recap the North, the Bears, fourth, Minnesota finished the third, Lions in second. I got Green Bay winning the NFC North this year. All right, I'm going to move over to the NFC West. Start from the bottom, the San Francisco 49ers. I like how they drafted. I like the regime they got there with Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch at GM. The decisions they making seem to be trending up. They're a young team. They looked kind of good the preseason. Brian Hoyer, of course, he's not the answer, but he's serviceable. I'll just put it that way. As long as he'll turn the ball over, he's pretty decent. His problem's been throwing a lot of interceptions, so hopefully if he cuts that down. I still like Carlos Hyde. They picked up Pierre Garçon. He's a reliable receiver. But other than that, still just too young. Definitely in the rebuilding mode. I said about 2-3 years though they should be competing at least for a playoff spot. But this year, just young. I think they're gonna have some growing pains, and they finish at the bottom in the West. Finish at third, I got the LA Rams. I was about to say St. Louis. Still, they get used to the LA scene. Yeah, now it's 3 teams in LA. By the way, so well, 2. I was counting. That was another reason I was counting the Raiders. But anyway, the Rams, the Aaron Donald situation still ain't solved. As far as I know, he's still holding out. He's looking for a new contract, but their defense still pretty decent. I've been hearing a lot of good things about Goff in practice and in the preseason, but you'll never really know until you get on the field in the regular season if he really improved or not. They made the trade to get Sammy Watkins, so they got a little bit more skill position players. Tavon Austin's still a speedy returning and receiver. Hopefully Gurley improved this year. like I said, Rams sort of, like I said about the Vikings, like when you finish in third division, sort of not quite there. And I think that's still with the Rams. But if they keep building pieces, maybe they can improve to better themselves. But right now, still not good enough. They finishes third in the West this year in the NFC. Finishes second, I think it would be the Arizona Cardinals. To me, if they're gonna do something this year, this would have to be the year. Of course, on offense, Carson Palmer getting older, Larry Fitzgerald as well. Got a lot of other representatives, John Brown, but I really like David Johnson. I was so upset last night with the fantasy draft. He was basically falling to me. I had the 7th pick in the first round. He was falling to me, but our league is only 8-team league, so I finished, like I said, so I was finishing almost last. But he would have fell to me, but it was 3 people that didn't show up, so they get auto pick. And the auto pick pretty much picked the best player on the board, so that's why he didn't fall. So he probably still would have fell to me, but I felt better if those guys would have showed up. But that's another story. I'll probably be telling more of those fantasy stories throughout the year. But the defense still pretty talented. Patrick Peterson, Chandler Jones. They got a great front four. They got talent there. I just think, like I said, if you put a lot of onus on the quarterback position, I think Carson Palmer a pretty decent quarterback. I never put him in the elite level like some people did maybe years ago, and I think he's way past his prime now. I think sort of just little turnover prone for me, but he can throw the football. So if he stay clean, don't turn the ball over, Cardinals could surprise some people maybe, make the playoffs, but I don't see them winning this division. At least they might compete for a wild card spot, but I don't see them winning this division. So of course, last but not least, and on the top of this list is the Seattle Seahawks. Seattle been consistent the last pretty much 4 or 5 years, especially on defense. Still got the same guys: Sherman, Michael Bennett, Cam Chancellor, Earl Thomas. Still got their guys up front. Offensive side of the ball always a little shaky. Russell Wilson has proven himself to be a good quarterback, but it's been a skill position. Doug Baldwin has stepped up the last two years. Has been an elite receiver, at least if you go by numbers. It's their running back still a question. Thomas Rawls has been up a hit and miss. So has Eddie Lacy, who they acquired in the offseason. That offense, definitely, if they take a big step forward, and the defense going short, Seattle always a Super Bowl contender as long as that's possible. So to recap, the West, 49ers, Rams, Cardinals, and then I got the Seahawks actually winning the division. Let's go to the South. NFC South this year is pretty tough to me. This was probably one of the divisions I struggled with. But finishing at the bottom, but could be a surprise, is the New Orleans Saints. The reason why because really with some of these teams, in my opinion, you're splitting hairs. But clearly, this New Orleans to me got probably the worst defense in this division. So I think that still would be a problem for them. I think Drew Brees, even though he's a great quarterback, I think it's too much pressure on him to get them over the hump as far as their defensive liabilities and everything. Required Adrian Peterson in the offseason. That was a pretty decent move, but you still don't know what you're going to get out of him. I really like Mark Ingram. He's somebody that's been consistent the last couple of years, been under the radar. But only I got the Saints finishing last. I would be surprised they finish higher in this division, but I got to finish last just mainly because of their defense. And I don't think Drew Brees is going to be able to score enough points every week enough to raise them higher than that. So I got New Orleans finishing last in the division. And it got even tougher with this decision, but I'll go with Tampa Bay finishing third. Just think maybe they're a year away. But like I said, I like what they did in the offseason, getting Deshaun Jackson and going on the other side of Mike Evans, who to me is a clear top 5 receiver, which I mentioned a couple of weeks ago. Jameis Winston got to clean up his turnovers, but I think he will. He's definitely a born leader. I think the offense will take a step forward. The muscle hamster, Doug Martin, he's out the first couple of games, I think, for PEDs. So hopefully they running game can still get, balance out the offense. On defense, they got talent there as well. They just picked up TJ Ward for the Broncos, who got cut. So that was a key pickup for the back end. Got Gerald McCoy up front. Of course, he's their leader on defense. I think the defense is young and hungry, so I think their defense will be pretty decent this year. And like I said, possible they can finish higher as well. And it's possible they can make the playoffs. So definitely a contender for that. But just think they're a little bit too young. Maybe still one more year away or two to really be an elite team in the NFC. They did finish 9-7 last year, just missed the playoffs. So maybe they growing up enough. We'll see. But I got to finish the third. In the South. Carolina Panthers, of course, special shout out to my friend Janae Jaguar. That's her favorite team, if she watched this, so maybe she should be happy about this. They finished the second in the division, just below the Falcons. I think Panthers will bounce back this year. They did good in the draft, getting Christian McCaffrey, of course. Calvin Benjamin looks good, even though it's the preseason, but he looks good. I think Cam is determined. I think he's going to bounce back, have a better year. And the defense still stout. Thomas Davis, Luke Kuechly. The secondary should improve this year now that they get more experience. So I think Carolina will finish second. And basically, I separated Carolina from Tampa and New Orleans because of the quarterback, once again. Like I said, you're splitting hairs here. I think Cam Newton right now is better than, I want to say better than Drew Brees per se. But Drew, like I said, New Orleans defense is why I put them where they were. And for Tampa, I think Cam is a little bit better than Jameis Winston right now. So that's why I gave Carolina the edge. And their defense is, I think, it's the strongest in the division. So I think those two going hand in hand, why I put them second. But I got Atlanta finishing first again. Like I said, splitting heads. Like I said, really, I would be surprised with this division what the order is at all. But Atlanta, most teams after they lose Super Bowl, they sort of have a off and on year, go through the motions. But I think Atlanta are gonna strive and bounce back from this. Matt Ryan took a step forward. Of course, he's the reigning MVP. Devontae Freeman, now he got his money. Coleman in the backfield with him. Of course, he got the best receiver in football, in my opinion, Julio Jones. Atlanta's pretty stout on the offensive side of the ball. Defense, pretty decent as well. They did good in the draft on that side of the ball. Got a lot of playmakers on defense as well. So I think this Atlanta overall is just a little bit deeper than all the rest of the teams in this division. So to recap the South, we got the Saints finishing fourth, Buccaneers third, Carolina finishes second. Got Atlanta to win the division once again, and getting back to the postseason. So we almost done with the NFC, and of course the NFC East, of course, probably the most talked about division in football. Will be tough again. I got finishing last is Washington. And the only way I'm calling Washington, I'm not going to use the word that they are called. I guess I'm starting to hear more and more about the name that the team has. And I rooted for this team at one point because, of course, I'm in Baltimore. And the Ravens wasn't always here. They only been here really 20 years. But before them, actually the last time Washington made it to the Super Bowl, I was rooting for them, and it was a team I always was hoping to do well. But I'm gonna try not to use the name because I guess I just think it's too many people that is offended by it. So, and I guess I just put it in perspective. Like if it was a team named after what people call me as a black man, a racial slur, like that wouldn't fly at all. So. And if it's just one person that feels that way, then as far as the Native Americans, and I'm not Native American, and some people use this excuse, well, they're not all united about it. Some don't mind the name, some do, but to some that do, I think it matters. So I might slip up and make a mistake, but I think and the more and more research and the more and more I hear people talk about it, it's like no. So I'm just gonna call on Washington, and I got to finish the last of the division. Kirk Cousins, of course, that ongoing thing with his contract and stuff like that. But he signed the franchise tag, so he'll be there. They lost a lot of guys though. As I mentioned, Pierre Garçon, he went to the 49ers. Shaw Jackson went to Tampa. So there's the 2 top receivers from last year. Jordan Reed's still there. He's talented. We'll see if Jamison Crowder can step up. They run game still to me is a little iffy. I mean, they got a running back kind of committee there, but still pretty shaky to me. I still think their defense still just not good enough. So I got Washington finishing last in the East this year. Philadelphia Eagles got to finish third, but I like how they trending up. They did some offensive move. I love LeGarrette Blount. They picked him up. He could be a number 1 running back, but they got other running backs behind him that's decent. They did trade Jordan Matthews to Buffalo, which might hurt them, but they still got Torrey Smith, who of course is a speedster. And Alshon Jeffrey, if he can stay healthy, that's his problem. He can't stay healthy, but definitely try to put some pieces around the young Carson Wentz. He showed flashes that he belonged in this league. The Eagles defense, pretty decent, not bad. So got Philly finishing third. Maybe possible for a wild card, but like I said, this is a team still need to improve a little bit more before I get more behind them. The Dallas Cowboys. Dallas to finish in second. Of course, all the drama around Ezekiel Elliott, which he could be playing this week because he filed the appeal and said he's going to take everything to court about the domestic violence thing. Hearing a lot of different stories about it, so until I hear more, I'm just going to, not going to blame him for appeal. If he really didn't do anything wrong, got no problem with it. So it's possible he could be playing week 1. So, but still, even with him being there, go with Dak Prescott and see if he take a step forward. Dez Bryant, still an elite receiver, in my opinion. The offensive line is pretty much what holds this team together, though. On defense, they got guys on defense, but all of them suspended to start the year. So I think the defense going to struggle again, and I think their schedule is a little bit tough. So even if Elliott played the whole year, I still would have probably finished him second. So it hasn't really that much to do with him. But still will be in the running for a wild card spot, though. Got Dallas finishing second. So that means the New York Giants, I got them finishing first. Like I said, I feel confident about it, not as confident. They offensive line still have issues, so even the pickup of Brandon Marshall, will that really matter if Eli can't stay protected in the pocket? Odell Beckham Jr. a little bit banged up. I think they said he's most likely going to play this week. Not 100% sure. But I think the offense is going to have their struggles. They running game still need help. So I think but their defense is going to carry their defense just like last year. Is going to carry them through a lot of games. So just hopefully they get that 1 or 2 big play that they needed, just like they got last year from Odell or from someone. I still think their defense is elite enough that they should win the division at least. So I got the Giants finishing first in the East. So recap the NFC East. Washington finishing 4th. Philly finishing 3rd. Dallas 2nd. And I got the Giants winning the East in the NFC. So that concludes the NFC. Going to move on to the AFC. And do it the same way. Of course, start break down every division, touch on every team, from top to bottom, well, from bottom to top, I should say. So in the NFC, to me, the most clear division is the AFC East. Start from the bottom, the New York Jets. Going to be in the running for the number 1 pick this year, most likely. Josh McCown, of course, he is what he is. I mean, I think he has talent, but he's just clearly not good enough. You got no skill position players around him. Forte still there. Powell in the backfield. So hopefully that'll probably carry the offense. But other than that, just don't have a lot of talent on the offensive side of the ball. Defense still pretty stout. Wilkinson in the back end, the secondary pretty decent. But I think this is just a long rebuild for the Jets. If they do get the #1 pick, just hope that Sam Darnold or somebody comes out and they stabilize their quarterback position. So not too much more to say about the Jets really. I just clearly think they're going to finish last. They probably will have the worst record in football this year. Buffalo Bills finishing third. Sort of one of these teams is sort of in no man's land. I like Tyrod Taylor. He used to play for the Ravens. I like his talent, but I think they clearly looking in the future by trading Watkins, even though Sammy Watkins was injury prone, but now you don't have a lot of skilled position players in the receiving core. Sean McCoy, still a top 5 running back in this league. He'll get his stats and stuff, but I don't think it'll be enough to carry them. Defense pretty decent, but honestly I can't name too many people, but they don't have the worst defense in the league, but I think they're the third best talented team in this division, so they finished third to me. The Miami Dolphins, of course, started off the preseason rocky, lost Ryan Tannehill. Of course, immediately signed Jay Cutler about a week or so later. He will be a starter. Dolphins got some talent. Jay Ajayi, definitely coming on as, you can argue that he's a top 5 running back in this league. Like Jarvis Landry. Got some talent off the side of the ball. Defense really well. The Comicans, I still always say his name wrong. And that front is still elite. So I think Miami will, they're complete for a playoff spot. They made it last year. They'll be right in the running again, but of course they're not going to touch the New England Patriots, who I got finishing first, and I think the clear best team in this conference. Even though they lost Julian Edelman, that's a big loss. But just like the Patriots do, they make a trade. Not saying that Dorsett from Indianapolis is Julian Edelman. I think it's going to hurt them, but I don't think it's going to hurt them enough. And they're going to still keep rolling. Hopefully Gronk stay healthy. They got Brandon Cooks from New Orleans. They still got talent. James White, the running backs, the changeable running backs they have. So I just still think that they're clearly the best team. And you still got Tom Brady. I didn't even mention him yet. Just mentioned him. After all I just said, he's the last person I mentioned. So still should be elite. Don't really see nobody in the AFC. They're droning them. So I probably already gave away my AFC representative in the Super Bowl, but I don't see nobody touching the Patriots. They clearly will win this division. So recap the East. We got the Jets finishing the bottom, Bills, Dolphins, and the Patriots finishing first, of course. Alright, let's move on to the AFC South. Start at the bottom. The Indianapolis Colts. Well, they said, with the Andrew Luck situation, they said that they took him off the PUP list, so he's available this week. But to me, honestly, I feel I had to finish the last regardless. Even if he was 100% healthy, I just don't think they have a lot of talent. I think the last few years they've been sort of playing around, trying to put too much pressure on Andrew Luck instead of putting talent around him. Still got T.Y. Hilton on the offensive side of the ball. Got some guys on offense. The offensive line is still an issue. And they run a game. The defense just not good enough either. So I just think clearly the worst team in this division as far as talent wise. So I got to finish it last. The Jacksonville Jaguars. Like I said, I want to get behind this team so bad because they got talent on both sides of the ball. Offense, got the Allen brothers, even though they're not brothers, the two receivers, Allen, Hearns, and both of the receivers are good. The running backs, they got two T.J. Yeldon. They just picked up Leonard Fournette through the draft. Allen Robinson, the name finally came to me. Allen Robinson and Allen Hurns. But of course, again, you need a quarterback to take you to the next level. And Blake Bortles, I was very disappointed in him last year. I actually picked his team to win the division last year. It definitely did work out. They had the talent. They had the talent on defense. They got a young defensive team as well. There's no reason why this team shouldn't be at least competing for a playoff spot. But I'm at the moment with them now. They got to show me. So until they show me, I can't finish them higher than third. Tennessee Titans. Sort of the same as the Jaguars. Not as bad. I think they made a step forward last year. Marcus Mariota proved himself in the league at quarterback. I like their running back core. Derrick Henry, DeMarco Murray. They got an elite offensive line. Defense still have to grow a little bit, but they have some talent on that side of the ball as well. So I'm on the fence about them making the playoffs, but I think they'll be right there at the end, just like they was last year. Maybe this another team I feel that's still about a year away, need to still add a little bit more to make that next step. But Tennessee, wouldn't surprise me if they make the playoffs. They have the talent to do it, and I got them finished second in the AFC South. So that means at the top I got the Houston Texans. Of course, their Achilles heel is their quarterback position, situation. They did trade up the draft Deshaun Watson, which I like a lot, but he's not going to start under center this year. At least that's the plan. They turned to Tom Savage, which is I'm not, don't have a problem with. I think if he struggles, though, I would be surprised if they turn to Watson. Of course, the defense is elite. J.J. Watt, Javion Clowney took a big step last year with Watt being out the whole year. Just a very talented team on defense. Finished number 1 last year in defense. So I like what Houston doing. So I got them finishing first in the division and possibly competing in the AFC playoffs. So to recap the South, I got the Colts finishing at the bottom, Jaguars, and the Titans. Then the Houston Texans finishing first in the division. Move on to the North. NFC North. Cleveland Browns. Just like I said about other teams, just too young right now. They turn to their young quarterback. Deshaun Kaiser, he showed them enough in the preseason. They're going to start week 1 with him. They play Pittsburgh to begin the season. So, but the Browns, they already came out and said they're rebuilding. So, got no problem with them going this way. Maybe the rookie will surprise them and take them maybe a little bit to another level that they don't expect. But Browns are growing. They did cut Joe Hayden. I'll talk more about that because he wound up being in the same division. So I'll talk about that. But I think they're just too young. They still have some talent in some parts of their team, but they still just too young and need to grow some more. So I got the Browns finishing last in the North. Finishing third, I got the Cincinnati Bengals. Like I said, that's where you start splitting hairs a little bit in this division. Bengals, I just think, honestly, of course they got A.J. Green, to me, one of the top receivers in this league. Andy Dalton had a decent year last year before he got hurt. And they was on their way to make the playoffs. Then they had to turn to A.J. McCarron, who's not a bad quarterback, but he's Dalton a little bit better. They did draft Joe Mixon, which was a controversial pick because of his domestic violence issues he had in college. But I seen him in the preseason. He looks pretty good. Both of the running back committee with Denard Bernard and the rest of the Bengals running backs. Defense still pretty stout. Of course, the Bartez Burfict thing. I think it was 5 games, but he got reduced down to 3. But to me, even though he's a little bit off the handle, but they need him on the defensive side of the ball. But I think the Bengals, just as their problem has been the last few years, will they be disciplined enough? If so, they might can surprise some people, maybe make the playoffs. They got the talent to do it, but I think out of all the other teams, they're the least disciplined team. Marvin Lewis thing, some people think he should be gone. I think if the only way he'd be gone if they have like a real turbo year, like a 3-win, a 4-win, 5-win season. But as long as they show some type of decency, I don't see them letting them go. But it's like, it's nothing wrong with stability, so I think that's why he keeps the job. But I got to finish the third division. See, I got a Ravens hat on, I got a Ravens t-shirt on. I am a Ravens fan, and I got the Ravens finishing second in the North. Still don't think they as good as Pittsburgh. Joe Flacco, a lot of controversy around him, his injury. Not just that, can he really make a big step in the regular season? He don't do nothing in the regular season. He's a good playoff quarterback if you go by the stats and all. He had all-time numbers in the playoffs. That's how good he's been in the playoffs. So that's probably why some people have been leaning on him. But some people think he's just an average quarterback. It's hard to argue against that. He's going to have to take a big step forward for this team to do anything other than make the playoffs. So other than that, the defense still going to look strong, especially in the preseason. I think they only allow like 17 total points in 4 games in the preseason. I like the way the defense looked. The running back committee still a little iffy. The skill position players a little iffy. Got a bunch of average guys. Like the offense is average, but somebody going to have to step up and be the playmaker. I also don't know who that person is yet, so that's why I can't put them over Pittsburgh for that reason either. So got the Ravens finish in second. So like I just mentioned, the Steelers finishing first. Like I said, going back to Joe Hayden, that's why he wound up falling to the Steelers' lap. So that helps their defense, their secondary, which is one of their weaknesses. Le'Veon Bell is back, so he's there at cap. Antonio Brown, probably the best receiver in football to a lot of people's opinion. Ben Roethlisberger, that's the only question mark. To me, he had a down year just by watching him. He's definitely past his prime, and honestly, I think his foot halfway out the door. Like if Pittsburgh wound up surprising people when they win the Super Bowl, I think he would walk. I think at the least he got about 2 years left, in my opinion. So that might be a motivation for him to play better because he see his window closing. But should compete in the AFC, but like I said, the defense still a question mark. But they have probably 2 of the top 5 just skill position players in the league, and Le'Veon Bell and Antonio Brown. So the Steelers going to put up points. Defense, can they step up and meet the mark to the offense? If so, then they might can reach another level, but they will win this division in my opinion. Just too much talent above the other teams. So to recap the North, we got the Browns finishing last, Bengals third, Ravens second, got the Steelers winning the division. So finally, our last division that we have to cover is the AFC West. This one was like I said, one of the ones I struggled with, because I could really legitimately, to me, argue all 4 of these teams doing something this year. But finishing last, I got the Denver Broncos. The defense is stout, even though they just lost TJ Ward. Still got a lot of talent on defense. Secondary, T. Khalid, Chris Harris. Of course, they got the Von Miller up front, so their defense is going to show up. It's the offense with question marks. Trevor Siemian is the starter, but it's interesting that the Broncos, after the Browns cut Brock Osweiler, they picked him up. So, will he push for a starter job again? He did well when he was in Denver. So I was sort of shocked to see him back, but he's back. So we'll see how that breaks down. Will Siemian keep the job or not? Got a lot of skill players on offense though, Emmanuel Sanders and Marius Thomas. Running backs committee is sort of decent, so if they could just, the offense could just not lose the game for them, they can compete. They got an elite defense, so, but because of that quarterback situation, I couldn't put them no higher than 4th, so I made a decision to put them in last. But like I said, just like I said about the South, in the NFC. I wouldn't be surprised if they finish higher. The San Diego, well, the LA Chargers. There we go. See, made that mistake once again. LA Chargers, first year at LA, so I'm definitely not gonna botch that all year. I like their team. I like how they put together, especially on offense. Phillip Rivers, he's getting a little up there, but I still like his competitive fervor. I always did. Skill position players, Keenan Allen, hopefully he's come back strong. Melvin Gordon made a big step last year in the backfield. Defense, a little shaky. Joey Bosa though, he got a year under his belt. Let's see how he performed this year. Maybe have some question marks on the defense side of the ball, but I like the way the Chargers are looking. I think they finished third. I got Kansas City finishing second. The Chiefs still got Alex Smith. A lot of people up and down about Alex Smith, game manager, blah blah blah, but he still win games. So that's pretty much why I think Kansas City stability at quarterback, and their defense is pretty elite as well. Like I said, I went back and forth in my mind, but I say they have proven time and time again when you doubt them, to compete. So I got to finish the second. Travis Kelce, elite tight end in this league, had to throw his name in there. I think the Chiefs finished second and will compete for a playoff spot, in my opinion. So that means I got finished at first, the Oakland Raiders. Derek Carr, hopefully he take that next step forward. He got hurt at the end of last year. Of course, the Raiders made the playoffs. They probably would have won the division. It's the defense. Can the defense step up? Khalil Mack, of course, already proven his elite status defense side of the ball, but they need some other guys to step up on that side of the ball. If they do, they can probably raise their level up. Maybe do some damage in the AFC playoffs. But like I said, this division was hard for me because, like I said, the Raiders, they got a decent team, but they still haven't shown you a lot yet. So hopefully, they ain't crowding them too early. But just looking at talent, period, I just couldn't overlook them. So recap the West: the Broncos finishing fourth, Chargers third, Kansas City finishing second. Got the Raiders finishing first in the West. Alright, so that's my division by division breakdown. So now I'm going to get into how I think the playoff picture will wind up being here. Of course, if you remember all my division winners, I'm going to start in the NFC again. Packers, Seahawks, Falcons, and Giants, they my division winners. My wildcard teams, I got Carolina and Dallas making the playoffs. I got the Packers being the number 1 seed, and the Packers play the Seahawks this week. So I think somehow the Packers will win this game, but honestly, I think if Seattle wins, they could wind up being first. And Seattle's the only team out of my division who I got predicting to win the divisions that play all the division winners. So they can control a lot if they win this Green Bay game. So that's a big game for it to be week 1. But I'm gonna just stick to my guns. I really think Green Bay gonna take a step forward and win the number 1 seed. I think they have a slightly better record than Seattle. So I think they're gonna beat them this week at home. So I got Seattle finishing being the 2 seed, Atlanta finishing third for the 3rd seed, New York Giants in the 4th seed. I got Panthers for the 5th seed. Dallas, I got them just getting in at the 6th seed. But notable contenders, I think, in the NFC could be, like I said, Tampa Bay. I got the Cardinals and the Lions. I picked 3 teams in each conference. I think those 3 teams could be either division winners in their division or wild card contenders. So that's my NFC playoff picture. In the AFC, I got New England, of course, winning the number 1 seed. I think they definitely have the best record in the AFC, probably by a game or 2 at least. Got the Steelers getting the other bye finished in second. Got the Raiders third. I got Houston fourth. My wild card teams, I got the Ravens. Maybe a little bit of home in me, but I think they schedule not as hard as the other team's schedule, so I went ahead and gave them a nod. And I got the Chiefs finishing 6th, just making it. Dolphins, Titans, and Chargers are 3 teams I think that could compete in the AFC picture. So by the teams that I got making the playoffs, I think, of course, I'm just gonna go by how I seeded it. So I got playing the Super Bowl 52 this year. I got Green Bay and the New England Patriots. They my 2 teams I think that's gonna come out this year. I think New England clearly. I really don't see no contender for them in the AFC. I think the Steelers have a chance. I think the Raiders have a chance. I think the Texans have a chance. If they, well, for the Texans, if their offense can take a step forward. And for the Raiders and the Steelers, if their defense becomes stout, their offense could compete with New England's. But like I said, just by having Tom Brady, that breaks ties as well. So I really strongly feel good about New England. Green Bay, like I said, they gonna have a tough time. Like I said, I think it goes by winning this game this week against Seattle. And I think whoever gets that number 1 seed in the NFC, even if it's might have been Atlanta or the Giants, I think will represent the NFC. I think New England, if somehow, even though I don't see it, but I think they can go on the road and win. I feel comfortable about them going on the road and winning. I don't feel comfortable about these teams going on the road and winning the playoff game. So, but Green Bay is my NFC representative. So who I got winning the game? I'll come back to that. I'm gonna go ahead and predict who I think my MVP will be and all that stuff. All the reward winners, well, some of them. Anyway, I should have put Coach of the Year, but matter of fact, I'm gonna go ahead and blindly pick that. I didn't write that down. I think if by how I'm looking at how I think things will shape up, I think possibly. Well, I'm gonna give you 2. I'm gonna give you a few possibilities. One, I think whoever win the NFC, if Green Bay wins, I think Mike McCarthy will be in the running for that. I think Bill Belichick could, but I mean, once you reach that level that he reached, it's like you don't exceed your expectations. So that's what pretty much that was about, exceeding more than what you thought they was gonna do. Maybe Bob McAdoo for the Giants. Ron Rivera if the Panthers make the playoffs because they didn't make it last year. If Tampa make the playoffs, even though I don't have them making it, if Tampa makes it, maybe Dirk Cutter can win Coach of the Year for Tampa Bay. There's just a few guys out there. I ain't giving it much thought. That's my reward I forgot to cover. But my MVP this year, I got Aaron Rodgers because I got the Packers winning the NFC. And I think he'll have a monster year. Defensive player of the year, I think Khalil Mack for the Raiders winning the division. And I think he'll have probably the biggest year on defense. I got him winning Defensive Player of the Year. Offensive Rookie of the Year, I got Christian McCaffrey. I think he's going to get a lot of touches for Carolina. I think he's a good fantasy player as well. And my Defensive Player of the Year, I got Reuben Foster. This sort of Defensive Player of the Year is pretty tricky because it's easy to make it. Well, I ain't gonna say easy, but it's more guys, that's going to get opportunities probably on the defensive side of the ball as rookies. I think, But I like Reuben Foster. I like them in Alabama, so that's just a shot in the dark, really. But I think San Francisco defense will be a little bit better than people think this year, and I think he's got a possibility of winning that. All right, so back to my Super Bowl prediction. Like I said, I got Green Bay in the NFC. I got New England in the AFC, and not going off a limb or going out there, I got New England winning this game. I would like to see Green Bay win it if this might have been a matchup, just to give Aaron Rodgers a little bit more stability, because now people start to question him about his rings, how many rings he got. So I would be nice for them to win, but I just think New England is clearly the best team in football. They made a lot of moves in the offseason, and even though Element, like I said, I think that Element injury is significant. I don't think it'll be enough to overthrow anyone. Alright, well, I want to thank everybody for sitting through this with me. I talked for a long time. Hopefully I'm not at my limit. Just want to say thanks to all my subscribers again. Enjoy the season. Like I said, starting now, I'm going to be doing a blog every Wednesday and Saturday now. Saturday I'll be my normal blog, but Wednesdays will be covering the Thursday night game. Or games, because it'll be Thursdays when it'll be more than one game. So that's what be the Wednesday show will be around that. So to everybody again supporting me, I want to say thank you. And enjoy your football season. I'm so excited about it. This Thursday night, Kansas City at New England. Also, my Pigskin pick'em. This will be the last time I throw this out there. I'm gonna put it in the comments. I mean, in the descriptions thing. The description of this video. If you want to join, I'm not giving away a prize now because it's sort of too late. So, but if you still want to play for fun, just pick games with me this every week. You're more than welcome to, and I will appreciate it if you do. Alright, well, thank you so much. This was a lot of fun. Hopefully I didn't stumble over my notes too much. Like I said, thank you to all my supporters. Sorry about it being so late. Like I said, I had some things to do this weekend. Just want to say thank you guys once again. I love all my subscribers. I love all my supporters, and I appreciate y'all so much. Enjoy your football season. Hope your team do well this season, and if you're a fantasy football player, hope you do well in that. NFL is back, and it will be back this Thursday night. I want to just say thank you once again. I'm Troy West saying thank you. Enjoy your season, and I'll see you guys Wednesday to cover the Patriots and Chiefs game. Thank you so much, and enjoy your weekend and enjoy your week. Thank you so much.